Hey guys, it's Drew again. You know the phrase, well, maybe someday. We use it when we get really close to having something happen, but it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. Well, I had one of those situations happen to me nearly a decade ago, but thanks to a viewer of my channel, maybe someday finally happened. So let's check it out. A couple of months ago, I get an email from a viewer named Brian. He says, "Hey, I think we live near each other." He had picked up on some clues in some videos that I had said. Turns out we live 30 minutes from each other, which is kind of neat. See, like a lot of you guys, I collected a bubble. There's not a lot of vintage guys that I know of locally. In fact, there's none. So I rely on YouTube and the connections that I make through this community to be able to share that. But to have somebody so close was kind of neat. So we talked back and forth via email, finally exchanged texts, and we give each other a phone call. And we're just talking about life, our history, our collections, that kind of a thing. Well, in the middle of this, he asked a question. He said, "Hey, do you like Dale Murphy?" Which I thought was kind of funny. I said, "It's funny, I've got a story about Dale Murphy." So here's the story. About 10 years ago, I went down to a Braves game with a friend of mine. It was like a Braves experience kind of night. And they had ex-players stationed around the stadium before the game. There was tables where they have one big star and then a couple of other guys that were there. And you could get a free autograph. The key is they only signed for 60 minutes, no matter what. So I had a baseball that was team signed and it was missing Tom Glavine. So I took my baseball down, but on the way, just in case that outside shot, I bought a brand new baseball because I was hoping I could get Dale Murphy. See, Dale Murphy was like a stud back in the 80s, back-to-back MVPs. And even though I wasn't a Braves fan, I loved to watch him. He was super clutch. He seemed to love the game. He played with heart and passion, but he wasn't a jerk to people. I mean, he loved his fans, he loved his team, and he was just kind of like a god to the people who love the Braves. And I really admired that. So I thought if I could get Dale Murphy on that outside shot, that would be kind of cool. So we stand in line. I get Tom Glavine, and then we head over to where Dale Murphy's signing, and I'm standing in line, and I'm looking at my watch, and I know it's a 60-minute cutoff, and I get up closer. Would you know it? I'm about 5 people away from the table where I could get a signature. I could see him sitting right there, and security says, "All right, folks, it's all right, time's up, that's it." I was so close. I had the ball in my hand. Well, I never got it signed. In fact, I didn't get it signed by anybody. So I told Brian this story, and he said, "Well, I'm going down in a couple weeks, and I'm going to get to hang out with Dale Murphy. You want me to get your ball signed for you?" So he and his wife would go down to this thing called the Dale Murphy Experience, and I'm not going to go too much into it. But the cool thing is he gets to go hang out with Dale Murphy and watch a baseball game with Dale Murphy, which is cool. And you can get autographs. He said he'd done it before. He had everything he wanted signed, so he figured he'd help me out. Well, yeah, I'd like that. So I meet up and I give him the baseball, and off he goes. Well, before he gets there, he and I texted back and forth, and he says, "What exactly do you want on the baseball?" I said, "Well, I really would love his signature, his autograph, and I would love where it says MVP 82 and 83, because he was back-to-back MVPs in 82 and 83. But what else can I get?" He's like, "Anything you want." He said he'll sign anything. I mean, I'm with him for hours, the whole day practically. And I'm like, "Oh man, a stat ball would be so cool." So I like text him a bunch of statistics. I mean, like silver sluggers and gold gloves and all-star appearances and all these other things. I thought that would be really cool. He's like, "Not a problem." I'm like, "Oh, so excited. This would be so cool." I mean, how cool is this that we could meet through the community, through YouTube, and him being able to get that ball for me? I was really excited. Well, the morning comes and he texts me and he sends a picture and he says, "I got good news and I got bad news." And the good news is I got your ball signed, but the bad news is only one inscription. That was a hard rule that they put in this year. Sorry. Well, I mean, I was kind of disappointed, but honestly, not really. I mean, after a decade, I finally get my baseball signed, and he got the MVP signature on it, and I was really happy. Well, hours and hours later, I get another text and another picture. He said, "Well, some things have changed." And he shows me this picture. Well, if you look at the two pictures, they look very similar. I mean, there's Dale Murphy. Still looks great, too, signing in my baseball. But the second picture, you'll notice something. In front of him is a piece of paper. But on the paper, you can see a list of all the things that I was hoping to get with check marks. After all that, he finally got the ball signed with the total stats. So I'm going to show you the ball now because I'm really excited. So here's the baseball with a great Dale Murphy signature. As you can see, NL MVP 82-83. But then he also 4-time Silver Slugger underneath. his RBI and his hits total. We go to this side. You can see his number 3 retired, his 5-time Gold Glove. On this side, his home run total, as well as his 7-time All-Star. I mean, how neat is this? How great is this? After a decade of having this baseball, never getting anything on it, I finally not only got the signature, I got all these statistics put on it. I mean, I was so excited. So we set a time for when I can get the ball back from Brian, and we meet up in a parking lot, and he's got this big grin on his face. Well, I mean, my grin must have been bigger, and I was really happy. So he gives it to me, and we talk a little bit, and he tells me the story. And this is just, I just thought this was great. So Brian went with his wife, and this is just something they would do together. And he said, and I'm kind of embellishing a little bit. So Brian, if I don't get the details 100%, I apologize a little bit, but this is kind of the way I pictured it. So he goes, he gets to, see Dale Murphy. He gets all this, all the fun and the fanfare of this day. And he said, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the baseball and I'm looking at the list. And finally, my wife is like, oh, give me that. And she takes the baseball and she takes the list and she walks over and she sits down next to Dale Murphy's wife and strikes up a conversation. Well, he said, I'm just sitting there and I'm watching my wife and Dale Murphy's wife just having a conversation and I don't know what they're talking about. The next thing you know, Mrs. Murphy, Dale's wife, takes the ball, takes the list, walks over to Dale, puts it in front of him, and he picks up the ball and like a good attentive husband just starts adding all the inscriptions to the baseball. So I don't know what was said. Brian, your wife, I've never met her. In fact, I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but thank you so much for doing that. The fact that, it took the wife to go and do something, not just Brian's wife, but Dale Murphy's wife to really get it done. I mean, if we're married, honestly, guys, that's what it kind of is like all the time. I just thought this was a great story, so I appreciate it. Brian, I thank you so much for doing this for me. I mean, this is such a great thing, and it just, to me, it sort of proves that this community is out there for each other. Yeah, there's people that'll scam you or guys that are just kind of jerks in the whole thing, but there's still a lot of good people that care more about each other and each other's collections and just helping each other out than we want to think sometimes. So let's not focus on the negative. Let's focus on the positive, things like this. It took 10 years, but you know what? Totally well worth it. So Brian, thank you again so much. Dale, I don't think you'll ever watch this video, but thank you for taking the time to do this. I appreciate you guys coming along as always. And till next time, you guys be good.